Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin Practice. A few props that'll be handy for today. I'd suggest having a blanket of some kind, a soft block, and a hard block. And when you're ready, we'll get started down on the back. And you can come to lying down. You can just have the props nearby. Before we set up for the first shape, I'll just invite you to take the feet nice and wide. Give the knees a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And then when you feel ready to, we'll keep the feet wide, rest the knees in together. So any version of this shape for the body, if you like to walk the feet a little bit closer, if you like to find a slightly different stretch through the legs, then go for it. Just make sure that the knees stay really quiet, and then the hands can rest anywhere on the body or beside it. If you need to add any extra support here, then please do. And when you're ready, find your stillness in this shape. Gently bring your attention back to the body, back to the breath if it started to wander. When you feel ready to move the body again, then keeping the feet nice and wide, you can just windshield wiper the knees a few times side to side. Awesome. And when you're ready, you can collect the knees into the chest, bring the hands around the knees, and just start to rock up and down the length of the mat, massaging the back, building up a little momentum, and then coming up to find a seat. And we will set up for frog pose. So you can bring your blanket nearby and then just adjust it so that it's a long rectangle shape. So for frog pose, you can bring your blanket maybe crisscross to the mat. It might make it a little easier to slide. And depending on what you're working with, if you have carpet, then you may not need a blanket at all. Your knees might just be able to slide. And then give yourself a little slack in the middle. And it might be helpful to have your block up at near the top of the mat in case you want it for the elbows or something. And then for frog pose, you can come to a tabletop position. So bring the knees onto the blanket. And then from here, start to let the knees slide apart as best you can. And then just see what this feels like. It's still early in practice, so it may not be a super deep expression. And then from here, I like to have the ankles roughly in line with the knees so the two shins are parallel to one another, but this won't work for everybody. So if it feels better to have the heels a little closer together, almost like a child's pose, then you can go for it. And then notice what the spine needs here for support. So for starters, you can come down onto your elbows. Notice where the pelvis is relative to the knees as well. There may be a tendency for the pelvis to come forward, and you might lose that groin stretch. Mhm. So keep encouraging the hips back in line with the knees as best you can. Mm. And then you can use your prop here. If the floor is a little far away, you can bring it underneath the elbows. You could also maybe use it on a setting to support yourself if the spine feels like it needs a little more support. Notice the quality of your breath here. And if it starts to get a little bit choppy, that may be a sign that you're in a little too deep. Mm. Keep checking in with the body as well and notice if it's asking you for anything, maybe to back out a little bit. Maybe there's room to come a little deeper and you're welcome to explore, always staying within the edge of your sensation. When the time comes to exit, personally, I find the easiest way to come out is to let the body slide forward so you can lower to the belly and then slide the knees in together. If there's a different way that you like to come out, then go for it. When you're ready, we'll come up to a tabletop position and then you can move your prop off to the side and we'll bring the bum down to the floor, open the legs nice and wide. I like to sit up off of a soft block just to give the low back a little more room. And then take the feet as far wide apart as you like for today. So take your time to set that up. There's no kind of right or wrong place to be, and kind of day to day it can change a little bit as well. Once you find the expression that you feel comfortable with, then take a moment to notice if there's anything that needs a little bit of support. Sometimes the knees can need a little support. You're welcome to use your blanket for that as well. And then see where the toes are pointing. There isn't a right or wrong. Maybe they're more in a point or maybe they're more flexed. You might even explore what it feels like to imagine pointing the toes out behind you, so a slight external rotation, and this may unlock something in the hips as well. We will take this to a fold, but if you'd like to stay upright for the first part of it, then you're welcome to as well. And if you want to have your block nearby, just in case you want to rest the elbows on as you come forward or anything like that. If you are coming to the fold, then you might start by just taking a moment to lengthen, take a deep inhale. And then as you're ready, you can start to exhale, start to round your way forward. So stretching from the low back, the mid back, the upper back. You can bring the chin in towards the chest and let the head hang heavy here. And as you come down, see what feels like good support with the arms. Maybe your hands are somewhere to the prop, to the floor. You can also use them differently. Maybe you're coming quite deep and then the block ends up supporting your forehead instead. As you come in, notice if any of the sensations feel too intense, then maybe it's a little too early to come that deep. So you can back yourself out until you can breathe comfortably and explore your pose that way. your fold, you can use the support of the hands to slowly make your way up. Once you come upright, just here, give yourself a moment, let the body adjust. And we'll set up for a twist now. We'll keep the same general expression with the body. If it feels better to bend one knee in and do one leg at a time, you're also welcome to do that. We will set up for a twist, and there's a couple different options. First of all, if twisting and folding at the same time doesn't work for your spine, then do one or the other. So you can twist. We'll start off by twisting towards the right, so you can take the chest to the direction of the right leg, and maybe the hands come alongside you for support, and this may feel like a good place to stay. If you are comfortable twisting and folding, then you can start to walk your hands up along that right leg and start to round your way over it. Listen to your body. If there's anything that feels icky, anything that feels electric or sharp, then that might be a sign to back out. Otherwise, a little general discomfort is expected in the shape. And breathe with whatever you're feeling. With the support of the hands, slowly lift yourself back up. Bring the body back to midline. We'll take it straight to the second side. So as you can turn your chest towards the direction of that left leg now. And again, you might stay upright, work with the twist. Or if it feels okay to start to fold over the left leg, you can walk your hands alongside. And this side may end up feeling quite different to the first, so find your expression here, that support wherever you need it. Notice the head and the neck, see if they can get into it as well. Let the head be heavy. Support of the hands, slowly bring yourself back up and then back to center. It might feel nice to twist side to side a little bit here just to release. You can also bring the hands behind you and then puff up the front body, the chest for a counter stretch for the spine. If it feels okay to point the chin towards the ceiling, go for it. And then when you're ready, come on up. We've had the shape for a little while, so maybe one side at a time, you can use the arms to slowly release. And then listen to your body as you come out. See what feels good. Windshield wiper might be a good place to go from here. If there's any other movement you like, then explore that instead. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, we're going to come down onto the back and set up for some twists. So you can have your hard block nearby if you want to bring it down to the left, and we'll start that side. So lowering down onto the back. And we'll lift the right leg up, wrap the right leg around the left, and then scoot the hips over towards the right. When you're ready, you can start to lower the knees down towards the left, and you can use that block to support the knees any way you like. And for starters, just make sure that this style of twist feels good in your body. If it doesn't, choose a different twist. Any arm expression you want to explore, maybe T-shape, maybe one or both arms overhead for more side body stretching. It might be useful to bring the arms down first, maybe a tone of the belly. You can start to unravel the legs back to center. When releasing the legs to center, you can take your prop down to the right, if it was helpful on the first side, wrapping left leg around light, hips to the left, and then lower the knees down towards the right. And again, touching that knee down to the block or whatever support you need here. Find the arm expression that feels best this side round. As you're ready to come out, maybe a squeeze of the legs, releasing the hips back to center, unraveling the legs. Maybe feet wide, maybe a gentle windshield wiper to release side to side. Awesome, and we'll set up one last stretch here. So you can have your block nearby, bend the knees, and then press the feet to the floor. Lift the hips just enough that you can bring a block under the pelvis. You can use one, you can use both if you want a little more height. And then from here, you can start to extend the legs forward down the mat. For starters, just make sure that the prop is in the right place. So think more upper bum area. If the block's digging into your spine, you might want to adjust it a little bit. And then check in, see if you can release the feet, the ankles, if they're holding in any shape. Maybe the hands somewhere on the pelvis for more grounding. Let the body feel like it's melting onto the floor. Soften anything you don't need. And if you need a little more time in this shape, then please stay. Otherwise, slowly think about bending the knees, walking the feet in a little bit closer, lifting the hips just enough that you can move your prop off to one side, lowering the pelvis. And then from here, see what you want from a Shavasana shape. I'm going to extend the legs long down the mat. You're welcome to come back to the shape that we started with, feet wide, knees resting together. You can also take the reverse, so butterfly legs. If you'd rather rest in a seated meditation or child's pose or anywhere else, then go for it. Setting up the shape that feels the most comfortable, the most inviting here. Let the body get heavy as you settle yourself in. Only when you feel ready, start to deepen the breath once again. And invite some movement back to the body. Wiggle fingers and toes. Move the wrists and the ankles. You might reach the arms up overhead for a full body stretch. And you might collect the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around them, and give yourself a hug and a rock. And maybe rolling down to one side, or you can start to rock up and down the length of the spine, and eventually coming up to find any comfortable seated position. Take a moment to settle the hips, to grow the spine, to soften the shoulders. And taking a scan through the body just to notice. The hands can stay or palms connect at the heart, maybe above the chin to the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your practice. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Yin practice. My name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and have a great evening.